The Galactic Council chambers were enormous, stretching far beyond what the eye could see. Alien species of all shapes and sizes crowded the golden halls. Their voices echoed in different tones, a mixture of hissing, clicking, and low hums. The council gathered to discuss matters of interstellar law, peace, and power. Yet today, all attention focused on a single species that had traveled from a small, quiet planet called Earth. Humans. Heijin stepped forward, his shoulders straight, trying to hide the nervous tension in his chest. He was one of the chosen human representatives, selected for his intelligence, calm demeanor, an ability to speak clearly to beings whose languages did not always follow the same rules. Beside him, Mira walked with the same quiet confidence. She had studied diplomacy and strategy, and even now, as the massive doors opened into the council hall, she could feel the weight of history pressing down on them. When they entered, a wave of curiosity washed over the room. Some aliens stared with wide, unblinking eyes. Others leaned forward, their long limbs stretching as if to get a closer look. Humans were smaller than most of the council members, and their skin was softer, their expressions easier to read. The council had expected weak, fragile creatures. And yet here they were, standing tall, unafraid. The head of the council, tall figure with multiple glowing eyes, spoke first. Its voice rolled across the chamber like distant thunder. Humans of Earth, you stand before the Galactic Council. We have observed your planet, your technology, and your history, and we find it curious, primitive. Your species is small and weak. You fight among yourselves, waste resources, and destroy your world. Why should the galaxy allow you to explore beyond your small planet? Heijin took a deep breath. His hands were steady, even as his heart beat faster. We may be young in the galaxy, but we are curious, determined, and capable of learning. We believe humanity can contribute to the Council and to the peace of the galaxy. The Council members murmured among themselves. A few laughed, their sounds sharp and echoing. Learning? A being with scales like silver glass hissed. You cannot even prevent wars on your own planet. You claim you can join the galaxy? How amusing, Mira stepped forward. We do not claim to be perfect, but we are capable. We have already achieved more than you know, and we are willing to show our dedication to peace and growth. One of the council members, a creature with tentacles and eyes on each limb, leaned closer. Show us. Show us, and we will laugh at your attempts. What power do you have? What reason do we have to allow your presence among us? You are nothing but fragile creatures. Banished, you will remain on your planet, and the galaxy will not miss you. The laughter that followed was louder this time. It rolled through the chamber, mocking, dismissive, and heavy. The humans stood their ground, their faces calm, but inside, their minds raced. Heijin's hands clenched at his sides. Mira's eyes narrowed slightly, not in fear, but in quiet determination. The council debated among themselves, each member pointing out what they saw as the weaknesses of humanity. They destroy their own planet, one said. They are violent and unpredictable, said another. They cannot be trusted to travel beyond their world, added a third. Heijin listened carefully. He noted each point, each argument, and stored it away in his mind. These words, though, meant to humiliate, would later become the fuel for humanity's rise. Finally, the head of the council spoke again. After much discussion, the Galactic Council has reached a decision. Humanity is not ready to join us. We vote to ban humans from interstellar travel and from joining our ranks. They shall remain on their planet until we deem them worthy, if ever. The chamber erupted in applause and laughter. The humans felt the weight of the room, the sharpness of alien eyes judging them, mocking them, laughing at their insignificance. Yet neither Heijin nor Mira flinched. Outside the chambers, the humans were escorted to their ship. The journey back to Earth was quiet. Heijin stared at the stars, thinking not of defeat, but of what they had learned. They think we are weak, he said softly. Mira nodded. Then we will show them otherwise. We will grow. We will learn. And one day, they will not laugh. Back on Earth, the leaders of humanity gathered in secret. News of the council's laughter and decisions spread quickly, but instead of despair, it sparked determination. Jinho, a scientist, and Yunji, an engineer, began designing projects that would advance human technology far beyond what the council could imagine. They worked in hidden laboratories, building starships capable of faster-than-light travel, energy weapons, and AI systems that could process information faster than any human mind alone. The humans who had once been laughed at were now quietly preparing for the future. Every invention, every discovery, every step forward was a small victory. Every moment of mockery from the council became a reminder. Humanity would not be ignored. Years passed. Human technology advanced in secret. Humans established hidden colonies on distant planets, unknown to the council and most alien races. They learned the stars, the currents of space, the threats that lurked in the void. They trained their people, honed their skills, grew stronger with each passing year. Hajin and Mira remained at the center of human diplomacy and strategy. They guided humanity with wisdom, balancing innovation with caution. They knew that when the time came to show themselves to the galaxy, it would not be a gentle introduction. The humans would arrive as a force that no one could dismiss. Meanwhile, rumors of humanity's secret growth began to circulate among smaller alien systems. Ships from Earth were seen in distant regions, quietly helping planets threatened by piracy or natural disasters. These acts were small, but enough to make some aliens question the Council's decision in the Council chambers. The laughter that had once filled the room became a memory. Some Council members began to wonder if they had made a mistake, but most dismissed it. How could such weak creatures, who had barely scratched the surface of their own planet, ever become a threat in the galaxy? The humans continued their work quietly, methodically. They trained in combat, science, and diplomacy. They studied the Council, learning its rules, its weaknesses, and its politics. Every mockery, every dismissal, every vote against them became a lesson. And in quiet moments, Hajin and Mira would look at the stars and imagine the day humanity would return to the Council. They would not plead or beg. They would arrive with the strength, skill, and knowledge to demand respect. The galaxy would remember the laughter, and the humans would ensure it became a memory of their own triumph. On Earth, children played with models of starships, dreaming of exploring the stars. Scientists worked tirelessly, experimenting with engines, weapons, and new technologies. Engineers built cities with hidden energy grids, capable of supporting massive human populations on distant planets. Every invention was a step toward the future that the Council could not yet imagine. The humans who had once been laughed at had become a species of quiet determination. They did not seek revenge, not yet, but they sought to prove their worth, to show that even a small, underestimated species could rise to greatness. As the first secret starships left Earth, carrying humans to the stars for the first time in generations, Hajin watched from the command deck. Mira stood beside him. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of danger and possibility. And for the first time, humans were ready to face the galaxy on their own terms. The Council had laughed. Humanity had listened, and humanity had begun to grow, quietly, patiently, preparing for the day the galaxy would no longer ignore them. Decades had passed since. The Galactic Council had laughed at humanity. The memory of that day burned in the minds of the human leaders, not as anger, but as motivation. On Earth, Hajin and Mira continued to guide humanity's secret growth. Cities had grown taller, technology far beyond the Council's expectations had been developed, and humanity quietly reached for the stars. Jinho and Yunji were now leaders of Earth's secret space program. Their work was hidden from the world, masked as civilian scientific research. In reality, they were designing the first fleet of human starships capable of faster-than-light travel. Jinho studied alien physics using intercepted signals from deep space. Yunji designed engines that could move ships through the galaxy almost instantly. Together, they pushed humanity toward a power no one could predict. On the outskirts of Earth's orbit, a fleet of sleek silver ships rested in massive hidden hangars. These were the first human ships designed to leave the solar system and explore other stars. Each ship was equipped with advanced sensors, energy shields, and weapons far stronger than anything humans had used before. Yet they were not weapons for war. They were tools for survival, exploration, and, if necessary, defense. Suben and G1, young pilots trained in secret for years, prepared for the first test flight. They had been raised in a generation that had never known the Council's laughter directly, but they had heard the stories. Every step they took, every maneuver they learned, was meant to prove that humans were no longer weak. The first test flight was quiet. The ship lifted off from the hidden hangar without detection, gliding through the vacuum of space with precision. Subin controlled the ship with steady hands, while G1 monitored the energy output and navigation. They passed the moon, the Aster, Oid belt, and the outer planets with ease. It was the first time humans had moved beyond their solar system in complete secrecy. As the ship approached a distant star system, pilots marveled at the vastness of space. "It's beautiful," G1 whispered, "and it's ours to explore." Subin nodded, feeling a surge of pride. Humanity had begun to claim its place among the stars, even if the Council had not yet noticed. Back on Earth, Hajin and Mira watched the progress with satisfaction. They knew that humanity's strength would not be measured by a single fleet or a single mission. It would be measured by patience, strategy, and the ability to learn and adapt. "The Council thinks we are weak," Hajin said quietly. "But they are wrong." "They always were," Mira smiled. "And they will realize it one day. When we are ready, the galaxy will have no choice but to acknowledge us." Meanwhile, humanity had not only focused on technology, but also on diplomacy. Taehyun and Haijin were trained to communicate with alien species. They studied languages, cultures, and customs, preparing for the day humans would meet other intelligent civilizations. Even before humans revealed themselves, they sent small probes and messages to distant planets. These messages were subtle, designed to help without drawing attention. A planet threatened by a natural disaster might receive a warning or aid from human technology. An uninhabited system might find minerals or resources carefully cataloged and left in order for future discovery. Humans were planting seeds of influence across the galaxy, quietly, intelligently, and without force. It was during one such mission that humans first encountered other alien species beyond the Council's observation. On a small planet near the outer rim, young human crew discovered a species struggling to survive against environmental disasters and predatory alien life. Minseok and Nara led the mission, using advanced terraforming equipment and energy barriers to protect the planet's inhabitants. The aliens had never seen beings like humans before, and their initial fear quickly turned into gratitude. The humans offered guidance, technology, and support without demanding anything in return. News of these interventions slowly reached the Galactic Council. Though filtered through reports of smaller allies, "It is strange," one council member muttered. "Humans appear in places we do not expect. They help without asking for recognition. They grow faster than we imagined." Most council members laughed it off. "They are weak," another said. "These are small successes. They cannot compete with our fleets or our technology. Do not be concerned." The humans continued their work. Every new colony established, every technological breakthrough, and every successful diplomatic contact added to humanity's growing strength. On hidden planets, children played and trained in environments designed to prepare them for the stars. Teenagers learned combat, strategy, and leadership. Scientists pushed the boundaries of energy, propulsion, and artificial intelligence. Engineers built cities and systems that could survive any natural disaster or alien attack. Ginho and Yoonji launched the first series of exploration missions beyond known space. Human ships began to map distant star systems, collecting data and resources. The crews of these ships trained in combat simulations against unknown threats. They learned to adapt quickly, solving problems and making decisions faster than any Council intelligence report could predict. Subin and Wan returned from their test flight with valuable data. Their mission had shown that humans could survive in unknown regions of space, avoid dangers, and achieve objectives without direct confrontation. These lessons were shared with all human fleets. Heijin and Mira emphasized careful observation, learning before acting, and using intelligence over brute force whenever possible, even within the hidden colonies. Humans began to build a culture of excellence. Sports and competitions were designed to teach teamwork, strategy, and endurance. Schools taught not only mathematics and science, but also critical thinking and negotiation. Humans were preparing to face any challenge, and their strength was not just in machines or weapons, but in their minds and their courage. One day, a human scout ship detected an alien fleet moving toward a small, resource-rich planet. The aliens intended to conquer it and enslave the inhabitants. Subin and G1, now experienced pilots, led a small fleet to intervene. Using advanced tactics and precision strikes, the humans forced the alien fleet to retreat without a full-scale battle. The aliens were shocked. They had underestimated humans. When the reports reached the Galactic Council, a few members began to worry. "Perhaps we misjudged them," one said quietly. "They are growing faster than we thought." Most laughed again. "It is impossible. They are humans. Weak, fragile, insignificant. Even if they have a few victories, they cannot challenge the galaxy. We do not need to pay attention to them." But the humans were patient. Heijin and Mira knew that the Council's laughter and arrogance were temporary shields. They had learned from history that underestimation was humanity's greatest advantage. Humans could move quietly, learn quickly, strike decisively when the time was right. The hidden colonies grew in sophistication. Each planet had defenses, energy systems, and communication networks. Humans were no longer confined to Earth. They had established research stations, trading outposts, and small fleets scattered across the galaxy. Each step was a building block toward a future where humanity would not be dismissed or laughed at again. One evening, Mira visited a young human colony on a distant planet. She watched children train, scientists experiment, and pilots practice maneuvers in zero-gravity simulators. She felt a deep sense of pride. These humans were not just survivors. They were builders, explorers, and fighters in training. They would carry humanity forward, far beyond Earth. Heijin joined her, looking at the same scene. "They will surprise the galaxy," he said. "One day, the Council will remember their laughter, and it will haunt them." Mira nodded. "And when that day comes, we will be ready. We will not beg for recognition. We will take it. Quietly, intelligently, and with strength they cannot ignore." The humans continued to expand. Trade routes were secretly established with minor alien civilizations. Alliances were formed with species that had been overlooked or oppressed by larger powers. Humanity's reputation began to grow, slowly and quietly. Small victories accumulated into a network of influence. Every act of assistance, every demonstration of intelligence and skill, made the humans more respected among those who had once ignored them. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council remained arrogant. They believed that humanity's efforts were small, unimportant, and temporary, but they had not seen the full scale of human planning. They did not know that Hajin and Mira, Ginho and Yunji Suben, and G1, Minseok, and Nara, and countless others had created a foundation for a future in which humans would stand as equals. And eventually, leaders among the stars, in the quiet of the Hidden Fleet's command room. Heijin looked at a map of the galaxy. Points of light marked human colonies, research stations, and exploration missions. Each dot represented years of effort, planning, and sacrifice. "They laughed at us," he said softly. "And now we are ready to grow. The galaxy will see us not as weak creatures, but as humans who refuse to be ignored." Mira placed a hand on his shoulder. "And they will remember their mistake," she said. "One day the Council will realize that banning humanity was the greatest error in galactic history." The stars stretched endlessly beyond the window. Each star represented a new world, a new challenge, a new opportunity. Humans would face danger, yes, but they were ready. They had grown stronger, smarter, and more resilient than any being in the Council had imagined. The Council had laughed at them decades ago, but now humanity's time to rise had begun, and rise they did. Quietly, patiently, but with determination and intelligence that no one could underestimate. Humanity's secret era of growth continued, spreading across the galaxy, preparing for the day when the laughter of the Council would be replaced by recognition, respect, and perhaps a little fear. The stars were quiet that morning, but the calm was deceptive. On the edge of the galaxy, near a small, disputed system, a fleet of alien ships moved with silent precision. They were large and menacing, designed to dominate smaller civilizations. And their intent was clear: control, conquest, and exploitation. Yet they did not know that humans were watching. Subin and G1 led the human fleet. Their ships sleek and fast, designed for both speed and strategy. The humans had been monitoring this region for weeks, gathering intelligence and planning the perfect moment to act. It was their first real encounter with a hostile alien force outside the hidden colonies. The moment was tense, but every pilot and officer knew what was at stake. Humanity's reputation, though secret to the Council, would be defined by this engagement. Jinho and Yunji were aboard the command ship, monitoring energy levels, shields, and weapon readiness. "They have no idea what we can do," Jinho said, a hint of excitement in his voice. "We need to be precise. One mistake, and this could become a disaster." Mira stood nearby, studying the tactical displays. "They are larger than you. But they are predictable. Watch their patterns. Find the gaps. We do not need to destroy them all. Just show them that humanity cannot be ignored." The alien fleet entered the disputed system, scanning for the neutral planets hidden there. Subin's voice rang over the CUM system. "All ships, maintain formation. Wait for my signal. Patience is our greatest weapon." The alien ships were confident. They had never encountered humans in space. They had heard stories of Earthlings being weak, fragile, and insignificant. In their eyes, this would be an easy operation. They had no reason to suspect that these humans were different from the legends. Suddenly, a small fleet of human ships moved from a hidden asteroid belt, appearing like ghosts in the void. The alien commanders blinked, confusion spreading across their ranks. "What is this?" one hissed. "They cannot have reached this region. This is impossible." Sveben activated the energy shields and maneuvered the fleet with precision. "We will not attack unless necessary," she said. "Observe, respond, and protect. That is our mission." The humans had prepared traps and strategic points around the neutral planets. They did not need to destroy the alien fleet outright. They only needed to show strength, strategy, and coordination. Using advanced sensors, they anticipated every move, countering attacks before the aliens could even understand what was happening. G-1 guided a squadron to cut off a key alien ship, forcing it to retreat. Another team, led by Minseok and Nara, activated energy fields around a planet, preventing the aliens from approaching. Every human action was precise, calculated, and unexpected. The aliens began to realize that these humans were not the weak creatures they had imagined. Their ships moved with coordination, their tactics clever and adaptive. Each time the aliens tried a maneuver, the humans countered it. Learning and adjusting instantly, Jinho watched the battle unfold on the command display. "They are fast learners," he said. "Faster than anything we expected." The Council's assessment was wrong. They underestimated humanity. On the battlefield, Subin's voice remained calm, authoritative. "Maintain formation. Focus on defense, but be ready to strike if necessary. Our goal is not destruction, but demonstration. Show them what humans can do." The alien fleet, frustrated by repeated failures, finally attacked a smaller human ship. It was a calculated risk on their part, expecting to force humans to retreat. But Subin anticipated the move. The humans activated decoy drones, leading the alien ships into a trap. Energy nets and countermeasures immobilized key vessels, forcing the aliens to retreat. For the first time, the aliens experienced fear. They had heard stories of weak humans, but these humans were not weak. They were clever, adaptable, and fearless. Their tactics were unlike anything the aliens had faced before. Back on the human command ship, Heijin and Mira observed the results. "They will not forget this encounter," Heijin said. "We have made our presence known. The galaxy is beginning to see that humanity is different. Mira nodded. And the council? They will still dismiss it. They will not believe it until we are impossible to ignore. But this is the beginning. The neutral planets were safe, their inhabitants unaware of the battle above. Humanity had protected them without revealing themselves completely. The aliens, humiliated and confused, retreated to their home systems. They would report back, but their reports would be filled with doubt. On Earth, the success was celebrated quietly. The hidden fleet returned to orbit, docking with the massive space station that had been under construction for years. The engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to repair and improve the ships, preparing for the next encounter. Each pilot and crew member was recognized for their skill and courage. Though the recognition was private, known only to those who had worked together in secrecy, Ginho and Yunji debriefed the crews. "We have proven something today," Jinho said. "Not to the Council, not to the galaxy, but to ourselves. We are capable. We are strong, and we will only grow stronger." Mira addressed the pilots and crew. "Remember this feeling, this understanding of our potential. Today, we have shown the galaxy a glimpse of humanity's power, and when the Council laughs again, we will be ready." Meanwhile, reports from the alien fleets reached the Council. The Council chambers buzzed with discussion. Some members, usually dismissive, whispered among themselves. "Have we misjudged them?" one asked quietly. Others laughed again, dismissing the concern. "Impossible. One fleet, one encounter. Humans are weak. They cannot challenge the galaxy. Do not worry." But doubts had begun to spread. Across the Council, some smaller species had observed the humans indirectly. They had seen how the humans protected neutral worlds, how they countered superior forces, and how they moved with coordination and intelligence. Even without the full truth, the legend of the capable, dangerous humans began to grow. Back on the hidden planets, Heijin and Mira continued to guide humanity's growth. Children trained in advanced simulations, learning strategy, coordination, and courage. Scientists experimented with new technologies, pushing boundaries that had never been tested. Engineers constructed new ships, more advanced than the last, each designed to explore, protect, and, if necessary, fight. Subin and G1 prepared for the next mission, reviewing the lessons learned from the encounter. "We can do better," Subin said. "We need to anticipate, to adapt faster, to move smarter." Giwan nodded. "Every engagement teaches us something. The Council thought we were weak, but we learn. Every day, every mission, every victory adds to our strength." Even minor victories were celebrated. A small alien colony, saved from a pirate fleet, sent messages of gratitude to hidden human stations. Humanity's reputation among minor civilizations began to grow, slowly, carefully, and without exposing their full power. Allies and friends were being made quietly, laying the groundwork for the future, as the sun set over Earth. Hajin and Mira stood together, watching the night sky. The stars stretched endlessly, full of opportunity and danger. "They will come again," Hajin said. "The aliens, the Council, everyone who doubted us. But we will be ready," Mira smiled. "Yes, and they will learn, one by one, that humans cannot be dismissed. We are not fragile. We are not weak. We are humanity, and we are ready." In the depths of space, humanity's first fleets returned home, carrying knowledge, experience, and confidence. They had faced the unknown, encountered hostile forces, and succeeded. The lessons of the past, of the Council's laughter, and the galaxy's doubt had been transformed into strength. Across hidden colonies and secret bases, humans continued to train, explore, and prepare. Every star system mapped, every fleet trained. Every technology developed was a step closer to the day when humanity would no longer be underestimated. The Council's laughter was a distant memory, replaced by determination, courage, and quiet. Unstoppable growth. Heijin and Mira knew that the galaxy would eventually recognize humanity's true power. It would not be immediate, and it would not be gentle. But the seeds had been planted. Humanity had begun its rise, not with arrogance, but with patience intelligence, and strength. And as the human fleets moved through the stars, always learning, always adapting, one thing was certain: the galaxy had begun to notice. The humans who had once been laughed at were no longer insignificant. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the future belonged to those who could see beyond the Council's laughter and embrace the potential of humanity. The Galactic Council chambers were quieter than usual. Reports had arrived from the outer sectors, detailing strange encounters with human forces. Some council members whispered in concern, while others waved their worries away. To most of them, humans were still weak, untrained, and small. How could a species that had barely left its planet pose any real threat to the galaxy? In a private room, two council members debated in low voices. "We cannot ignore these reports," one said. "A species with long blue tendrils and glowing eyes. The humans. They are adapting faster than we expected. Their fleets are organized, their technology advanced. We should watch them closely." The other laughed. "Do not be foolish. One fleet does not make them powerful. They are humans, always fighting among themselves. Their victories are small and insignificant. We have no need to be concerned." Meanwhile, on the outskirts of a neutral star system, humans quietly continued their work. Tehai and Hajin had been sent to establish contact with minor alien civilizations that had suffered under aggressive neighbors. They moved carefully, learning languages, customs, and politics. Their presence was subtle, almost invisible, but the humans left a lasting impression. A small alien species. The Orvas had been under constant threat from a larger neighbor. Tehayan and Hyjin guided them, teaching them defensive strategies, helping them build shelters, and sharing technology that the Orvas had never imagined. For the first time, the Orvas felt safe. They began to trust humans, seeing them as allies rather than invaders. Back on Earth, Ajin and Mira reviewed the reports from the missions. The Council may have underestimated humans, but humans did not underestimate themselves. Every encounter, every successful mission, added to the growing network of influence. Every new ally, every new technology, was a step toward ensuring humanity could never be dismissed again. Ginho and Yunji worked tirelessly on new ships. Each sign was faster, smarter, and more adaptable than the last. They built AI systems capable of predicting enemy moves, energy shields that could absorb massive damage, propulsion systems that allowed ships to travel further, faster, and safer than ever before. Every step was calculated, every innovation deliberate. Subin and G1 trained new pilots. They ran simulations of complex battles, teaching strategy, coordination, and quick decision-making. Every young pilot learned to anticipate threats and respond with precision. Humanity's fleets were becoming more than just machines. They were a reflection of human intelligence, courage, and adaptability. One day, a minor conflict arose in a distant system. An aggressive alien fleet attempted to seize control of a small planet inhabited by a peaceful species. The humans, aware of the situation, moved to intervene. Subin led the fleet, G1 coordinating defenses, and Minseok and Nara deployed energy barriers around the planet. The aliens were confident. They had never encountered humans in combat beyond rumors, and those rumors painted humans as weak and disorganized. They did not expect the precision and strategy of the human fleet. Each move the aliens made was countered with clever tactics, trapping several of their ships and forcing them to retreat. Back on the Council, the reports were received with disbelief. Again, one member exclaimed, "Humans are supposed to be weak. How do they continue to surprise us?" Others dismissed the concern. "It is only a small fleet. Do not be alarmed. Humans are still a minor species. Their successes are isolated incidents. They cannot challenge the galaxy's major powers." The humans, however, knew better. Every victory, no matter how small, was a step toward showing the galaxy that humans were not to be ignored. Every act of defense, every rescue mission, and every strategic maneuver demonstrated not only power but also intelligence and morality. Humans did not destroy for conquest. They acted with purpose, protecting and supporting those who could not defend themselves. On a hidden planet, Heijin and Mira gathered the leaders of several human colonies. "The Council continues to underestimate us," Heijin said. "But that is their mistake, not ours. We must continue to grow, quietly, strategically, and with strength. One day, they will have no choice but to recognize humanity." Mira nodded. "We will not show arrogance. We will act with intelligence. Every mission, every colony, every fleet is a step toward ensuring humanity can survive and thrive in this galaxy." The Council's laughter will be remembered, but only as a memory of their underestimation. Across the galaxy, humans continued to expand their network. Minor civilizations began to notice the difference between humans and other species. Where others exploited or demanded, humans helped and taught. These civilizations began to trust humans, sharing resources and intelligence. Humanity's influence grew quietly but steadily, creating a web of alliances that even the Council could not ignore. Taehyun and Jin visited another system where a planet was threatened by a natural disaster. Humans deployed energy shields and stabilizers, saving millions of lives. The inhabitants, in awe of the humans' capabilities and compassion, began to spread word across neighboring systems. Slowly, humans became known not only for strength but for wisdom and care. The Council remained largely dismissive. Many laughed, recalling their previous decision to ban humans from interstellar travel. "They may grow, but they are still humans," one member said. "They cannot match our fleets, our technology, or our experience." "Do not worry." But seeds of doubt had been planted. Some Council members quietly observed, noting patterns of intelligence, strategy, and rapid adaptation among humans. These members feared that humanity might become a force they could not control. Yet the majority still refused to take the reports seriously. On the human side, Heijin and Mira prepared for the next stage. They understood that confrontation with the Council or other major powers would come eventually. The humans were ready, but they needed patience, preparation, and coordination. Every fleet, every pilot, every new technology was a piece of the larger plan. Subin and G1 conducted drills in space, simulating encounters with multiple fleets simultaneously. Young pilots learned to work together, to anticipate, and to adapt. Minseok and Nara tested energy shields against simulated attacks, improving them with each iteration. Ginho and Yoonji developed AI systems capable of real-time tactical analysis, allowing fleets to react instantly to threats. Meanwhile, minor conflicts and natural disasters provided opportunities for humans to demonstrate their capabilities. Each success strengthened alliances, earned trust, and built experience. The galaxy slowly began to notice that humans were not the weak, insignificant species the Council had dismissed. The hidden colonies grew in size and sophistication. Cities were built with energy grids capable of supporting large populations and advanced technology. Research stations pushed the boundaries of science, experimenting with propulsion, energy, and defense systems. Every project had a purpose: survival, expansion, and eventual recognition by the larger galaxy. Heijin observed a training simulation one evening. Young pilots coordinated an attack on a simulated alien fleet, adapting strategies on the fly. "They are learning faster than we could have imagined," he said. Mira smiled. "It is not just technology. It is intelligence, courage, and teamwork. Humanity has become more than a species. We are a force." Across the hidden fleets, humans prepared for the future. Every encounter, every mission, and every technological advance was a step toward ensuring that the Council's laughter would no longer define humanity. The galaxy would eventually see that humans were clever, brave, and capable of leadership. As the sun set over Earth, the human leaders gathered once more. "The Council may still laugh," Heijin said. "They may dismiss us, but every action we take proves them wrong. We grow stronger, smarter, and more capable every day." Mira nodded. "And one day, they will realize that their decision to ban humanity was the greatest mistake they have ever made. Until then, we act quietly, intelligently, and with purpose. Humanity will rise, not with arrogance, but with strength they cannot ignore. The stars stretched endlessly, filled with possibility, danger, and opportunity. Humanity had begun its ascent, carefully, strategically, and with patience. The Council may have underestimated them once, but humans had learned from history. They would not be ignored again. And as the fleets moved through the galaxy, expanding, learning, and protecting, one truth became clear. The laughter of the Council had ended, replaced by the quiet, unstoppable rise of humanity. They were no longer weak. They were no longer insignificant. They were a force that the galaxy would soon be forced to recognize. The galaxy had begun to whisper about humans. Minor civilizations shared stories of fleets that arrived silently, of ships that protected the weak, and of humans who acted with intelligence, courage, and compassion. Yet the Galactic Council still laughed in its chambers. To most humans, were nothing more than a small, violent species from a distant, insignificant planet. But the humans were ready to show that perception was wrong. Heijin and Mira watched from the command deck of a hidden flagship. Across the galaxy, humans were preparing to act, not to dominate, but to demonstrate their growing power and moral strength. They had learned patience. They had learned strategy. And they had learned that the galaxy would only respect humans when humans decided to take their place. Minseok and Nara were leading a fleet toward a troubled system, where a massive storm had devastated multiple colonies. The Council had refused to act, seeing the system as unimportant, but humanity would not ignore suffering. The fleet moved quickly, deploying energy shields, stabilization grids, and repair drones. Entire colonies were saved from collapse. The inhabitants stared in awe as humans worked efficiently and decisively. Taehyun and Nasrian had been assigned to a different system, where a pirate fleet threatened peaceful trade routes. Using advanced tactics, human ships intercepted the pirates, cutting off escape routes and disabling weapons without unnecessary destruction. Lives were saved, trade routes were secured, then the humans vanished before the Council could even learn the details. Across hidden command centers, Ajin and Mira coordinated operations with precision. Humans were no longer reactive. They acted with foresight. Every fleet, every pilot, every engineer knew their role, and every action built toward a larger goal. Humans were proving that strength was not only measured in firepower, but in intelligence, strategy, and moral resolve. Meanwhile, on Earth, Jinho and Yunji continued to push technological boundaries. Ships were faster, shields stronger, and AI systems more intelligent than ever. Every new design incorporated lessons learned from previous encounters. They were preparing humanity not for war, but for recognition. Humans would show the galaxy that they could protect, lead, and innovate. Subin and G1 led training exercises with new pilots. Every maneuver, every simulation, every strategy was meant to prepare humans for the unexpected. They practiced responding to multiple threats simultaneously, coordinating across fleets, and using the environment to their advantage. Young pilots learned quickly, inspired by the knowledge that their species had been underestimated and laughed at by the Council. It was during one mission that humans first sent a dire court message to the Galactic Council. The message was not a threat, but a warning. Heijin and Mira composed it carefully, explaining humanity's growth, capabilities, and readiness to act in defense of themselves and others. The message emphasized diplomacy, respect, the protection of those who could not defend themselves. The Council received the message with laughter and disbelief. Humans are arrogant, one member said. They overestimate themselves. They cannot possibly threaten us. Another member, however, frowned. Perhaps we should observe more carefully. Their actions suggest intelligence, coordination, and strength we did not anticipate. It is unusual. The humans continued to act, quietly, but decisively. In a distant system, a planet faced invasion from a technologically advanced alien race. Subin and G1 led a fleet that blocked the invaders' advance, protecting the planet without causing unnecessary damage. The aliens were stunned. They'd expected humans to be weak, but humans acted with speed, precision, and intelligence beyond their calculations. Reports of these actions began to spread among minor civilizations. Humans were seen as protectors, as clever strategists, and as moral leaders. They were gaining allies and forming networks of influence across the galaxy. The Council could no longer dismiss the rumors entirely, though most still tried. Back on Earth, Heijin and Mira met with Jinho and Yunji to review the outcomes of each mission. "Every time we act," Heijin said, "we show the galaxy that humanity is more than the Council imagined. We do not seek war, but we do not shy away from showing our strength." Mira nodded. "In every life we protect, every fleet we guide, every system we secure, strengthens our position. The Council's laughter will fade when they see what humans have become." Meanwhile, Minseok and Nara were tasked with establishing new colonies on distant, uninhabited planets. They designed infrastructure that could withstand harsh environments, created energy systems that were self-sufficient, and trained colonists in defense, science, and governance. These colonies became examples of human ingenuity, planning, and foresight. In another sector, Taehain and Haijin helped an underdeveloped civilization recover from a devastating war. Humans provided guidance, technology, and training. Within months, the civilization was stronger, more organized, and capable of defending itself. Humans did not dominate or control. They guided and protected. This earned respect and loyalty that no force could buy. The Council began to notice patterns they could not ignore. Humans were acting with precision, intelligence, and strategy. They were gaining influence without aggression, building alliances without threats. Some council members whispered uneasily in their chambers. "Perhaps we were too hasty," one said. "They are small, but they are clever and organized. This could become a problem." Others laughed again, insisting that humans were still weak. "They cannot challenge the galaxy," one voice said. "Even if they act strategically, they are still humans. Do not waste energy on minor species." Humans, however, were patient. They understood that recognition would not come immediately. Hajin and Mira knew the Council would only take humans seriously when it became impossible to ignore them. Until then, every action, every mission, every success built toward that day. One evening, in the Hidden Fleet's command room, Hajin addressed his officers. "We act for ourselves, for those who cannot defend themselves, and for humanity's future. The Council may laugh, but one day they will see the consequences of underestimating us. Every system we help, every life we save, every fleet we train, moves us closer to that moment," Mira added, "and we will not be reckless. Intelligence and patience are our greatest weapons. We grow quietly, carefully, and with purpose. When the time comes, the galaxy will recognize humanity's strength, skill, and moral leadership. Across hidden colonies, children trained in advanced simulations, preparing for the day they might command fleets, negotiate with alien civilizations, and protect planets. Scientists experimented with new propulsion systems, energy weapons, and defensive technologies. Engineers designed cities and infrastructure capable of surviving disasters and attacks. Humanity's strength was not just in fleets or technology, but in knowledge, strategy, and resilience. Minseok and Nara returned from a successful mission to a recovering planet. The inhabitants had grown confident, capable, and grateful. They now saw humans not only as powerful, but as honorable. Each minor victory was a step toward broader influence, creating a network of civilizations that respected and trusted humanity. Subin and G1 prepared for the next engagement. Reviewing intelligence reports, they anticipated encounters with hostile fleets, natural disasters, and unexpected events. Every mission was carefully planned, every crew member trained, every system monitored. Humanity's fleets were now ready to act with precision anywhere in the galaxy. Jin-Ho and Yunji continued to innovate. New energy shields could absorb greater damage, propulsion systems allowed faster travel, and AI systems could manage fleets in real time, predicting enemy moves and environmental hazards. Every technology was designed to enhance human strength, not for conquest, but for survival, protection, and leadership. The Galactic Council could no longer ignore humanity entirely. Some members were beginning to question their previous judgments. "They are growing faster than we imagined," one whispered. "Their actions are deliberate, coordinated, and effective. Perhaps we underestimated them." But the majority still laughed. "Humans are small. They are violent and unorganized. One or two successful missions do not make them a threat. Ignore them." Hajin and Mira knew that laughter and dismissal were temporary. The council would only recognize humans when it became unavoidable. Until then, humanity acted with patience, strategy, and purpose. Every fleet, every mission, every success was a reminder that humans could not be ignored forever. As the hidden fleets moved through the stars, they acted as protectors, innovators, and guides. Minor civilizations relied on their assistance, and even hostile species began to notice that humans were clever, coordinated, and strong. Reputations spread quietly, but effectively across the galaxy. One evening, Ijin stood on the command deck looking at the stars. Mira joined him, and together they watched the movements of their fleets, the lights of distant colonies, and the growing influence of humanity. "We are being noticed," Hajin said quietly. "The council may not admit it, but the galaxy is watching. We have begun to change their perception," Mira smiled. "And every step we take, every life we save, every system we protect, brings us closer to recognition. The council's laughter is fading, even if they do not see it yet. Humanity is rising, not with aggression, but with strength, intelligence, and moral purpose." The stars stretched endlessly beyond them. Humanity had moved beyond Earth, beyond its hidden colonies, and into the galaxy with purpose and intelligence. Every fleet, every mission, and every technological advance was a step toward the day when the Council could no longer deny human capability. And across the galaxy, humans continued their work, quietly, decisively, and with intelligence. They sent messages, protected planets, and guided civilizations. They did not seek conflict, but they did not avoid it when necessary. The Council's laughter was now just a memory, replaced by the quiet, stoppable growth of humanity. Humans had begun their rise. The galaxy would soon realize that the species they had dismissed was clever, brave, and powerful. The Council had laughed once. Humanity had listened. Humanity had grown. And humanity was ready. The galaxy was changing, though the Council refused to admit it. Human fleets moved with purpose across star systems, protecting the weak, guiding struggling civilizations, and quietly building influence. What had once been whispers was now chatter. Humans were no longer weak. They were clever, disciplined, and capable. Hajin and Mira watched the reports from the command deck. They had been waiting for this moment for years. Every mission, every fleet deployment, every new colony had been a step toward demonstrating human strength. Now, the time had come for humanity to show its presence on a larger scale. Min-Seok and Nara were preparing a fleet to intervene in a system where a powerful alien empire threatened to enslave multiple planets. The Empire's ships were massive, heavily armed, and confident. They had never encountered humans directly, and they expected little resistance. But humans had been planning, observing, and learning. Every detail of the Empire's fleet and tactics had been studied in secret. Subin and G1 led the attack fleet. They coordinated every movement with precision, their ships weaving through space with speed and accuracy. The humans did not seek destruction for the sake of war. Their mission was to protect, to demonstrate strength, and to teach the alien empire that humanity could not be dismissed. Jinho and Yunji monitored energy levels and shields from the command ship. "We have anticipated every move they could make," Jinho said. "They will be surprised by our coordination and technology. This is not brute force. This is intelligence applied with precision." Mira nodded. "And that is what makes humans dangerous. We adapt, plan, and we act when necessary. The Council may have laughed before, but they will not do so again after they hear of this." The human fleet engaged the alien ships. At first, the enemy fired confidently, expecting easy victories. But humans were prepared. Energy shields absorbed the strongest blasts. The KI systems predicted enemy maneuvers and coordinated counterattacks, disabled keyships without unnecessary casualties. The alien commanders were confused. They had expected disorganized, weak humans, but these humans acted with intelligence, skill, and courage. Minsiok's squadron created strategic blockades, cutting off reinforcements. Nara's team used energy nets to immobilize heavily armed ships. Subin and Juan directed squadrons with speed and precision, anticipating enemy actions and responding before the aliens could react. The alien fleet began to retreat. Their confidence shattered. They realized that these humans were not to be underestimated. They had not encountered intelligence, courage, and strategy in such a combination before. For the first time, they feared the humans they had once dismissed. Back on Earth, Hajen and Mira received reports from multiple fleets across the galaxy. Humans had intervened in systems threatened by disasters, hostile species, and internal conflict. Every successful mission expanded humanity's influence and demonstrated their capability. Minor civilizations now looked to humans for guidance, protection, and support. The Council, however, tried to maintain its arrogance. "These are isolated incidents," one member said dismissively. "Humans are small, fragile, and incapable of real power. They cannot challenge the galaxy." Others whispered doubts. "They are acting with coordination, intelligence, and strength we did not expect. Perhaps we underestimated them." But the majority laughed, unwilling to acknowledge the truth. They could not imagine a species so young, so previously dismissed, acting with such power. They had laughed at banning humans from interstellar travel. They had made a mistake, yet most refused to admit it. Meanwhile, humans continued to expand their reach. Taehyun and Haijin were sent to mediate a conflict between two alien species fighting over resources. Using diplomacy backed by a display of human fleet strength, they persuaded both sides to cease hostilities. Humans provided solutions that respected the sovereignty of both civilizations, earning trust and gratitude. On hidden planets, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly on advanced starships' energy shields, and AI systems capable of managing fleets across multiple star systems. Every innovation prepared humanity for the future, ensuring that they would be ready for any challenge. Subin and G1 trained new pilots, running simulations of increasingly complex scenarios. They taught strategy, quick thinking, and coordination. Every pilot learned to anticipate threats and respond with intelligence, not just firepower. Humanity's fleets were now not only strong but also smart. Hajin met with Mira in the command deck, reviewing intelligence reports. "The Council will soon realize their mistake," Hajin said quietly. "We have built influence, strength, and reputation across the galaxy. The humans they laughed at are now a force they cannot ignore." Mira nodded. "And we will continue to act with patience and intelligence. Recognition will come not through arrogance, but through consistent action, strategy, and moral strength. We will not just be noticed. We will be respected." In another part of the galaxy, Minsiok and Nara intervened in a system where pirates had taken control of a trade hub. Human fleets struck with precision, disabling pirate ships and restoring order. They provided resources and training to the local inhabitants, ensuring they could defend themselves in the future. The incident became a story across neighboring systems. Humans were no longer merely observers. They were protectors, teachers, and leaders. Back in the council chambers, reports of human actions could not be ignored. Some members whispered among themselves, expressing worry. "Their fleets are coordinated," one said. "They are clever, disciplined, and effective. Perhaps we should reconsider our position on humans." Others dismissed the concerns. "They are still humans," one replied. "They may have some minor successes, but they cannot challenge us. Do not worry about them." The humans, however, continued to act without seeking approval. Every intervention, every rescue, every success strengthened their position. Humanity was building a network of allies, influence, and reputation that even the Council could not dismiss forever. On Earth, Hajin addressed human leaders across hidden colonies and fleets. "We do not act for recognition, though it will come. We act for humanity, for those who cannot defend themselves, and for the future of our species. The Council may have laughed, but we are no longer weak. We are strong, capable, and ready, Mira added. Every mission, every fleet. Every new alliance moves us closer to the day when humans will be impossible to ignore. We act with intelligence, strategy, and moral purpose. That is our greatest strength, Subin and Jiwan prepared for the next engagement. Knowing that human influence was spreading and that more challenges would come, every fleet, every pilot, and every mission was carefully coordinated. Humans had learned to act decisively and with foresight. They were no longer reactive, they were leaders. Minor civilizations, once ignored by the Council, now looked to humans for guidance. They shared intelligence, technology, and resources. Allies were being formed quietly but effectively, creating a web of influence that would eventually force the Council to acknowledge humanity. Jin-Ho and Yunji continued to innovate, designing faster ships, more resilient energy shields, and AI systems capable of managing fleets in real time. Every advance ensured that humans could act decisively, protect the weak, and maintain their growing influence. The Galactic Council began to notice patterns they could no longer ignore. Humans acted strategically, built alliances, and used intelligence rather than brute force. They were gaining influence across systems that the Council had considered unimportant. Some members whispered their concern. Perhaps banning humans was a mistake, one said. Their actions are deliberate, effective, and far-reaching. But most still laughed, unable to face the truth. Humans are small and fragile, one member insisted. Even if they succeed occasionally, they cannot change the galaxy. We need not worry. Heijin and Mira knew that the Council would only recognize humanity when it became unavoidable. Until then, every fleet, every mission, every success prepared humans for that moment in a distant system. Human fleets intercepted an alien armada attempting to enslave multiple planets. The humans acted with speed, intelligence, and precision, neutralizing threats without unnecessary destruction. Planets were protected, populations were saved, and humans vanished before the Council could intervene. The minor civilizations that witnessed these actions spread tales of human courage, intelligence, and strength. Reputation traveled faster than fleets. Humans were becoming respected, feared, and admired. The Council could no longer dismiss the species they had once laughed at. Heijin and Mira observed the growth of humanity's influence across the galaxy. The Council will soon have to face reality, Heijin said. They will see that humanity is capable, clever, and morally strong. Their laughter will be remembered, but it will not last. Mira smiled. And when that day comes, humans will not seek revenge. We will seek recognition. We will show the galaxy that strength combined with intelligence and morality creates a force that cannot be ignored. The stars stretched endlessly, full of opportunity and challenge. Humanity had moved beyond Earth, beyond its hidden colonies, and into the galaxy as a force of protection, intelligence, and influence. Every fleet, every mission, every new colony strengthened humanity's position in the Council. Once laughing, now whispered uneasily. The humans they had dismissed were no longer weak. They were clever, brave, and capable of leading. The mistake the Council had made would soon become clear, and the galaxy would remember the day it had laughed at humanity.